Hello and welcome to Cutter Farms. We're back with another episode of Westby, Wisconsin today. And we've done, 10 episodes on this map so far, and we've managed to progress all of one day. And so we're going to try and move things along a little bit better today. We were just in here checking on our cows. We've actually done a great job of getting them into a productive state here. So health is at 100%, productivity is at 100%. We're making milk, which makes me very happy. And we topped off all of the food here last episode, so we should actually be set for just a little while here with the cows. Hopefully we'll get to some reproduction here after a few months. It'll be nice to see the herd growing in size. But in the meantime, we've got some soybeans over here that we're going to need to harvest. It is currently, September in game right now. I think soybeans start to come into their own in October, so they're looking a little green still. Let's go ahead and jump the time forward here to October and see if we can get into some harvest. Last episode, we were wrapping up the tillage in this field, so actually, I think we've got a tractor sitting out here in the field just parked at the end where we finished our work. So let's go ahead and take this on up. We've got one more field to work on plowing here. I don't know if we're going to do all of that on camera. We've done quite a bit of plowing on camera in the last few episodes, although I have had the workers helping me out here to do a good chunk of that. And so we're going to go ahead and take this up here. We've got to do a little bit of plowing on these contours, I think, where we had the crops last year. We had a few of these contours that didn't have any crops, so they're all good to go. But these ones where we had the crops last fall here, or I guess a month ago in this playthrough, these are actually going to need to be plowed up. So we'll probably work on that a little bit in between doing some of the other jobs, but I really want to get the harvest going first, I think. So I'm just going to park this up here so it's ready to go when we are going to work on this. But let's go ahead and jump into October here and see if we can get harvesting on these soybeans. So we've hopped forward here into October, and it does look like our soybeans have moved to a ready to harvest state. So I'm excited to see that. We've got a 78% yield bonus according to field info. I think that we're getting hurt a little bit for the weeds that have run rampant through our field. We probably should have busted our sprayer out here before we got to this stage. I guess we did buy a sprayer, and I just didn't think about it. So my bad. It's a little late now, though. So let's go ahead and run up to the yard here, see if we can find our harvester. And here we are. So I have to say, I absolutely love this side hill combine. The header on it is a bit small for my typical play style. However, the combine itself is just an awesome recreation of these older style combines, and the side hill functionality has worked really well for us. So I can't wait to get back out here in the field with this thing. I just find harvest to be the most enjoyable part of the year from a farm sim perspective. So I can't wait to get one more field to harvest in here. I think we're going to head all the way down by the end of the row here and start from the end of the field. It's going to be a little bit more efficient on the up down rows, plus the field comes pretty close to the end of this road here, so I'll be cutting through a little less grass as we get into it. And I think our plan, man, this grass is really tall. I think our plan is going to be to open things up here on the end and see if we can get enough room to turn around without busting into this fence all the time. We'll probably take off, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 pieces here at the end, although we've got to go all the way around by this fence. Maybe what we'll do is take one path around, and then I'll clean up the headlands after we've got a little bit more room to work around by this fence here on this curve, because if I tried to back up and turn around here, not sure how efficient that would be. So we'll take it this way. I'm not too worried about getting full. We don't take that wide of a swath with the small header here on this old combine, so I'm really hopeful we'll get all the way to the end of the field here. A little bit of a risk, but that's all right. I'm also really loving the sounds on this older combine. I think Tired Iron did a really good job putting this mod together. The fall colors are out in full force on the map. I love that we've got a mix of colors on the trees here as well. Very autumn feel. A little bit of green and yellow, some orange mixed in there. Just love the horizons on this map. I have to say I'm going to be very impressed if we can manage to get all the way around this field without getting hung up on this fence. There's quite a few twists and turns as we go around here, so the beans are planted pretty close to the fence line here. I honestly think we're going to have a little bit harder time with the combine, or not the combine, with the planter. Oh my goodness, it's loud in here. I guess we didn't develop soundproof cabs for a little while here. We're gonna jump back out of that. Our farm is definitely starting to come together here. We've got the cows going with a good amount of feed here. I've already got another batch of feed mixed up and in the feed wagon. I guess once we make the corner here, I'll check and see how they're doing. I didn't really keep an eye on them as we fast forwarded time, which is usually why my animals don't perform overly well, as I often forget about them for long periods of time. At least, unlike seasons in FS19, we won't be killing them off by neglecting them here. But you can see we're already down to half of our food capacity here, but our reproduction percentage did jump up. So it looks like we're getting about 10% a month on the reproduction for our cows, which means we should only have about 8 more months to go before we see some calves on the farm, which will be good. That should help us improve our production quite drastically here as we double up on the amount of cows that we've got in the pen. But that is also going to cause us to need a lot more feed as we get into next year. Getting down here and taking a look at things more on the level with the combine. The hills in this field are nothing to shy away from. I mean, we've got some pretty big elevations as we go up and down the hill here, and our header is at quite the angle here. I would not like to probably do a harvest on this field in real life. When I was driving combine when I was a younger person, the hillier fields always got me a little bit nervous. The combines are not the most stable vehicles that I've driven. They often feel a little kind of squishy and tippy. In fact, I actually put a combine into an irrigation ditch once when I was working on the farm, and so I know quite well how it feels to have a combine tip back on you a bit. I backed right into it when I was turning around on a headland one time. So hills like this would definitely give me an uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. So I'm getting those vibes just looking at the severe angles on that hill back there. But I think that's one of the things I like the most about playing on Westby here is you've got some really varied terrain, where some of the fields over there, while hilly, are much more open, where this is feeling a little bit more enclosed, coming back in here into the narrow part of the field by the trees there. Popping our HUD back on here for a moment. We're only at 26% capacity, so not too worried about getting back down to the other end before we fill up. That's going to work out really well for us. Now, I think we're going to have to take a few passes around. My goal was to actually try and start a worker off on one of the straighter, longer parts of this field so that we could go and get both the auger set up for dumping into the bins as well as bring the gravity wagon out here. I don't have either of those things set up. I was so excited to get out here in the field and start harvesting the beans. We didn't do any of the prep work that we normally do up in the yard to get ready for incoming crops. So we're gonna definitely have to take a step back here at some point and get that going, which is okay. We can definitely do that here. This is a field that I actually feel like course play probably would work out pretty well in. Despite its awkward sizes, we could probably set up a spiral node or something like that for this field if we were really inclined to do so. I didn't do that. We'll probably just try to live with a regular worker here. I think that the straight rows, especially back in this part of the field, are going to be easy enough for a worker to handle, and I'm enjoying doing a fair amount of the driving here myself on this. I just want to find a section that's going to be good enough for the worker to go on long enough for me to run up to the yard and get some of that other equipment going once we start to get full here. So as we come back up here to the end of the field where we started, I'm thinking what we'll do is just take off a few of the headland rows here and let the worker handle some of these shorter rows that I know it's just gonna turn around on a bunch of times as it tries to follow its specific working angles. And that'll give us plenty of time to go get the gravity wagon hooked up in the auger without having to worry about things too much. If we can get through the trees, I think if I just have it go straight back and forth on those straight rows, it'll clean up this awkward little section that we've got back here in the corner and set us up for doing more of the longer sections here in a few minutes. I'm gonna cut in here a little bit. We'll clean up maybe 2 passes by the fence here all the way up to where it bends, or maybe at least up to, yeah, where it bends up here ahead of us. That'll give us plenty of room for turning around by the time I come back. It's been a few weeks since we recorded an episode of Westby. I've been out sick and dealing with recovery from surgery here the last week or so, and it's always for me getting back into the swing of things, remembering the restrictions and capacities on different vehicles that I haven't driven in a while. Like, I don't remember how much room I need to turn around with this. Is 3 headland passes going to be good? Should I do 4? I'm not really sure. We're going to find out together, though. We're going to bet on 3, though. So I think what I'll do is we'll get this turned around, head right back up to the other end, and that'll give us enough room, hopefully, to let the worker do the turnaround without getting too hung up on the fence here. Yeah, I'm thinking this looks like it's gonna be more than enough room for turning around on these short rows. So let's get back down to the other end here real quick. Perfect. We've got all of those headlands off. Let's just swing around right quick here, and maybe I'll take this little angled part off a bit to help have a square start. I know we've got a bit of an angle as we come up this other headland pass, but we got plenty of grass here as well to turn around. I'm really hopeful good old helper can figure this all out for us. There we go, looking good. We're gonna watch just to make sure we don't get hung up on this fence on our first attempt. She doesn't seem so sure of herself. Oh, we're backing over the crops. I don't know what I expected, but I guess we'll assume that's going to play out. Let's run back up to the yard here and grab our gravity wagon. So I think I want to use the 4240 on the gravity wagon. However, it's hooked up to the feed cart here, which is full of feed. So let's get this mixing wagon out here to the cow barn and feed some hungry cows. We were dropping a little bit below 50% of our feed, and this should hopefully top off our feed. I can't quite remember what the capacities are here, but this is a fair amount of feed, and we'll hopefully keep them going for another month. I know I've started to get a little concerned about getting through the winter. I think we are going to have to do another round of grass work, which, fortunate for us, we've got a ton of grass available here on the farm that we haven't cut up yet. So maybe we'll have to hire in some custom baling operation to come in and help us out, and specifically somebody with a little bit wider of a mowing deck than our Moco, because that took quite a bit of time for us last time when we were mowing all that field by hand, and I'd love to see us get through that job just a little bit faster. So we'll have to see what it's going to cost maybe to hire, i.e. lease some equipment to come in and help us out. I think I am going to just leave the mixing wagon right here. Maybe not the most convenient place for it, but I do want to just grab this gravity wagon and get back out to the field, because we were starting to run full on that combine. I think we were up in the 70 to 80% range, if I'm not mistaken. So who knows how long it's going to take the worker to get full here. We've got our manual attach back on this particular save. We'll see how long that lasts. We have been having a few issues with the random implements, specifically the augers, I have a little bit of a problem with, I think. So we'll keep trucking on this, though, and see how well that fares once we get to setting up the auger here in a little bit. So it looks like our workers doing a pretty good job here, going back and forth. Maybe not quite as full as I thought they were, but that's all right. Hopefully this little short row is going to be long enough to unload on the go. I know it takes a while for the auger to come out on this thing, so we're going to go ahead and get our speed control set down here to what should be an appropriate speed and see what we can do to get started. Oh, the auger is quite short there. There we go. Either way, I think we're going to stop the worker here. Oh, no, stop the worker here. We'll just unload it while we're here because trying to do this on the go is apparently going to be a little bit harder than I thought, especially on these shorter rows, although this thing does have a really slow unload speed. Not too bad, though. We're almost there, less than 1,000 liters to go, and we're all full up at 4,500 liters. Not too bad. 36% of this gravity wagon, so no sense running this back up to the farm just yet. I think I am going to actually let that worker keep going for a bit, though, and we'll run back up here and see if we can get that auger set up on the 4040. Now, if we remember here, I believe we've got oats in this bin still. We had emptied quite a bit out, but I've still got 36,000 liters of oats over there, but the other bin here is empty, so we're going to try and move this auger over to the other bin here and see if we can get that all set up to take these soybeans in. If we take a quick peek at the prices menu here, I believe that Giants has fixed the price fluctuation menu with one of the patches here, and so we really want to be hanging on to our soybeans here until sometime in July or August, because we're pretty much at a low point here in October. It'll get a little bit lower as we go on, but definitely not the right time to be selling at the moment. So we're going to store these beans over the winter. I think that's going to be the best bet. So let's go ahead and drop the mixer off here, the grinder, and see if we can get this guy going. And we were just saying that the auger is the one thing I've had a little bit of trouble with manual attach, so we're gonna see if that's still the case. We might have to go and disable that when we're trying to hook it up to the PTO here in a minute, but for moving it around we shouldn't have any difficulties other than my ability to drive here, which is notoriously bad. So let's see if we can back this up. I'm not too worried about if I have to take a tractor or the tractor and the gravity wagon onto the grass a little bit to get around this. I'd rather have the auger in a solid spot here. I think we're gonna take this other view here for a moment to try and line our auger up. The camera gets to be just a smidge awkward to control when you're focused on a tractor, but you're really trying to look at the auger itself. So let's drop this down maybe just a bit like that. Try and look at it from a couple different angles. I think it's in a pretty good spot now, so I'm gonna hop out here and we're gonna open up the lid on top, which I think is right here. And we're gonna come over here and close the gate on the top of this bin. That's to simulate climbing up on top of there. And I think if I drop this down and we hop back into the tractor, that's looking pretty good. We could probably lower it just a little bit. And so I think I've got to hook up to it to drop it down. And when I disconnect from it, it should actually raise back up just a smidge. Looking good. I like the placement on that. So let's see if we can now get this guy all hooked up here. Now, I think the reason that this has so many problems with manual attach is because we're not really attaching it. We're really just hooking the PTO up. And I think that's where things get a little hung up. So there's a little dot down here that's really hard to see. I'm sure it doesn't come through well on the video, but my understanding is that's the point that I want to line my PTO up with for connecting this thing, so that when I hop out here and connect it, oh, there we go. We did actually hook right up to that. So I think that dragged my auger out of position a little bit. So we'll pull forward here a smidge, see if we can get this realigned. I'm liking the alignment on all of that, and we've got our pipe out like we should. So yeah, I think this is working. We're going to turn this tractor off until we have a gravity wagon to bring up here. But let's go check on the progress with our harvesting. It looks like our combine has either gotten lost or is really into the long rows here. So let's go see if we can track it down. I'm a little bit worried that it lifted up the header and went all the way down to the end and started cutting through the middle of this field. We don't have enough headland space set up on the other end of this field for it to actually do that successfully, but hey, what do you know? It looks like it actually figured it out. We'll have a little bit to clean up there, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm sure if we were actually down there, there would have probably been some bloopers with it crashing into the fence at some point, but that's all right. Let's see if we can get up alongside this and let it open up the auger without crashing into my gravity wagon. I don't know if that's going to be quite possible or not. We're going to have to skirt the danger here a little bit, or else it gets confused and thinks I'm not here. And boom, there we go. We'll obviously not unload all of it, I think, before we get to the end, but we'll get a good start, and it'll help stop the worker before it takes off without me. Oh, we did. We got it all. Nice. So let's actually take this up. It's only half full, but I'm honestly really curious to see if this is going to work out for us with the auger configured the way that we've got it. And even with this gravity wagon half full, it's pulling a little bit going up this hill. So that's I love the sound effects and the engine mechanics here on the 4240. The transmission setup quite fun to play with. Now, the true test of my driving skills today is whether or not we can line up with this auger on the first pass in and dump this grain. We always have a difficult time with these gravity wagons, I feel like, and we just barely missed it. There we go. We can start dumping into the hopper, but we better go ahead and turn this on, and there we go. It's coming out the end into the bin. So everything seems to actually be hooked up and working correctly this time, and with manual attached to boot. So no complaints on my end at all about that. Quite happy to see the process working here. So with that, we've got our soybean harvest well underway, and I think we'll wrap the episode up here. That's all for today. Kedrick out. Oh, I thought I could get through here. Come on, you can do it. Apparently, we're not going 6 miles an hour. Even 4 is too fast. What are we doing? 3? Seems a mite slow.